Hey guys, I'm going to be reading another story. See, the other two stories that I've been reading, Seventh Horcrux and Of Wizard and Heroes, are both just two of my favorite fictions that I've read so far that, um, I know of already. And, this time I'm actually going to be reading one that I've never read before. It's an SIOC, and it's The Fastest Man Alive. Join Benjamin Blake as he takes on the Marvel Universe. Be very aware this is an anti-hero and hero-ish MC. I don't own X-Men, Marvel, or DC properties. This is pure fanfic, so let's all just enjoy ourselves and suspend a little disbelief. This is by, BigTofu on fanfiction.net. Yeah, let's just get right into it, if I can get past the ads. Okay. Chapter 1, New Life. The Fastest Man... Fastest Man Alive. Chapter 1, A New Life. All I could remember of that fateful day was my death. I didn't know what I had for breakfast, not even what I had for lunch. All I can remember of that fateful day was being hit by that car. Even now, in my new life, I blamed myself for not seeing the car heading my way. I lived my life right, and I don't party like the rest of the people my age. I didn't go around sleeping with every woman I met. I was a good man, so why did I have to die? I could never figure it out, and this made me angry. I refused to live a simple life. I refused to accept what fate had in store for me. I rejected all, and I knew just where to start. I had read so many of these stories, and yet I knew with the infinite nature that is the multiverse, so the possibility of its existence was high. I never expected myself to die and become a reincarnator. This is a chance I refuse to let go. This is the story of Benjamin Blake, the fastest man alive. I woke up in an entirely different world. Sighed. You wouldn't and couldn't understand how that felt. I mean, everything was different and gone, and you knew this, yet it all felt the same in its weird way. That cute girl down with the hall, the video games, the excellent food, your friends, that's all gone. So I did the only thing I could do. I opened my mouth and I screamed. Yet that wasn't what came out. What came out was one of the loudest wailing cries I had ever heard. It scared the lights out of me. I jolted so hard from it looking around, that's when I noticed my hands. It was me. I was just a little babe, and I didn't just die and get a new body. I was starting all over from the beginning of everything. And yes, that was when I had enough. With my head tossed back, I just let it all out and wailed, "Oh, look at him. Oh, look at him go. Strong lungs you got there, little fella," stated a blurry form of a man in my position from my position in whose arms I was in. "Look at him go. Did you see that? He has your mother's eyes. My little man is going to be so handsome when he gets older," stated the lady whose arms I was now in. I think that the grammar and English in this is not that great. So as I'm reading this, it's so many things are just eh. 16 years later, Midtown High, Benjamin Blake. After my meltdown at my birth, I chose to grow up and do something with my life. It's not like I can go back. I was already dead, and my soul was in a new body. I was born Benjamin Anthony Blake. You know how many times he's gonna say the name? I think we got it. I think we might have that memorized at this point. A fresh 7-pound baby with chubby little arms and legs. In fact, my mother has never let me live down to this day. A too loving, if not slightly overbearing mother, one Judith Blake, married my grumpy old man, Adrian Blake, the super detective, as he likes to call himself at home. While staring out the window, I had to contemplate my life. I was confident in being in the Marvel Universe. I just don't know which really I was in. Currently, I'm hoping it's one I know. Let's be honest, I only read the good stuff. Planet Hulk, Civil War, and the Infinity War, and some other smaller issues in between. So far, I'm certain Spider-Man hasn't shown up yet, since I kept an eye out for him in the Daily Bugle, and there hasn't been anything about him. I know that's going to change since JJ hates him for no reason, and also Spidey hasn't shown up yet because Peter Parker is one small skinny kid in class sitting right next to me. Oh. So I need to figure out what I'm going to do, and soon. And there's one thing I'm sure of, and that's this city is going to go to shit fast. I knew what I wanted to do, yet I only had parts of plans to get there. I had plans for doing the hero thing my way, with plans to bring Pete the Kid Genius along with me, keep him as my Captain American / Tony Stark. I had to make sure I got my powers before he did. Turning my face from the window, I looked at the desk. I look next to my desk and look at Peter as he tries and fails to hold a conversation with MJ. Man, I still don't get what he sees in her. If the opportunity happens, I'll help him hook up with the black cat. Pete, just leave her be, man, I spoke out to him. I was just letting her know I was available after school to help her out, like she asked since she missed it last time to hang out with Liz. Peter spoke while giving me puppy dog eyes. Come on, Pete, don't look at me like that. It's creepy. It's creepy. Am a guy and you're a guy. Oh, really? Really, you gotta do the... Whatever. Am a guy and you're a guy, so just don't, please. How about you look the other way? When Flash decides to walk your way, I replied, this which snapped him out of it. That's not fair. You promised me you would keep him off my back, and I wouldn't tell anyone you were kissing Gwen Stacy behind the bleachers. Okay, so, like, which one is Peter's love interest in this? Because there's, like, okay, so there's MJ, and in, like, the original Spider-Man, that's, like, his girl. And then there's Lizzie, who in the Marvel Universe is that Spider-Man's girl. And then Gwen Stacy, who in the Amazing Spider-Man is Spider-Man's girl. So I'm just, like, I'm over here, I'm like, which one is it? Whispered Peter as the teacher turned around to look in our direction. Aye, man, haven't I kept my word? I replied with mock hurt on my face. Well, yeah, you have. Eddie and Flash actually both go the other way when you're around. What did you do to them before you got me out of my locker? Peter asked suspiciously with a raised eyebrow. You know, you're good at doing that eyebrow thing, but unfortunately it won't work on me. Remember, I'm a detective kid. That's also dating a police captain's daughter who is also a genius in her own right with a photographic memory. So go take your detective game somewhere else. I quickly scoff at him with a playful shrug. He's not, this is, okay. I quickly scoff with a playful shrug. My detective game is on point, thank you very much. At least that's what my grades say, replied Peter as he laughed at his longtime friend. I'll keep my mid-A average lane. I'm not trying to stand out too much. No point bringing people my way. No worries, I'll let you get all the grades and just beat up the bullies that come bother you. I replied to him while looking up at the bell with just 3 minutes on the clock. Ring. All right, class, make sure you have chapters 6 and 8 finished for homework. That means you too. It was like all caps. Came the teacher's call as everyone stood up, rushing for the door in a who's goes first frenzy. Well, that's our cue, Pete. Let's go join our fellow hormonal teenage brethren within the confines of that hallway we call a jungle. Of that jungle we call a hallway, you mean? I spoke up, shifting all my belongings to my backpack. Out in the hallways was just straight up pandemonium. Like some days like today, I realize quite vividly I am a teenager all over again, regardless of how advanced my mind might be. Oh yeah, your mind is so advanced. So advanced that when someone makes begging eyes at you, you have to correct him and say, I'm a guy and you're a guy, so don't do that. You know, your brain's very advanced. There were hot girls in skimpy short coats with big dumb jocks sniffing behind them. Don't get me wrong, I'm not half bad myself, but I don't see the appeal of pumping iron and getting that large just because you're on a high school team. Standing at a crisp 5'10" with caramel brand skin, rocking a low fade on the sides, add my gray eyes and lean fit athletic build, and yeah, I was a head turner. I had no interest in any of the ladies around me. Yeah, I was what most of them called a fine-ass brother. Wow. Okay. But I had clues in on the path the future might take. I already know what was going to come out of high school. Hot as can be, and I had somehow gotten my hands on one such lady, or as my father likes to say, teenage hormones at its finest. I still don't understand how she ended up with you. Yeah, you're my son and you think you've got game, but you don't have squat. That was right before my mom smacked him on the back of the head to show that she heard him and his ramblings. Now that school was over, it was time to set my grand plan in motion. A month ago, I had offered to donate some blood to Gwen for scientific product on for her scientific project on genes and their sequences that make us who we are. When I had given my blood, I had also asked her to look for me to see if I also had the X gene. If this were present in my genes, then it would speed up my plans. I knew that what all powers and abilities I was going to get from my uber lift of nerd powers. What? That's not, whatever, he did, whatever. Did I luck out getting her in my life or what? Someday I'll have to share how I know all my information with her, but until then, she is my awesome girlfriend. And here she comes, walking down the hall looking like a cute little Emma Stone with that blonde pixie cut pencil skirt with some checkered sweater. I don't even know she brought one to school this morning. Wait for a second, isn't that the sweater I lost during winter break? How in the blue blazes did she get that? She looked at me, smiled and with a raised eyebrow, and turned to Pete on my left. Hi, Pete, what you doing? Any plans for the weekend? Asked Gwen, while completely ignoring me, looming over her as I was eyeing my lost sweater that just so happens to be in her possession. Not much. I am supposed to be helping MJ with the chemistry homework, then I'll probably keep on tinkering with the computer I was building. What about you? What's your plan for the 3-day weekend? Asked Peter, trying to stifle his laughter at my antics. Well, I plan to help the big lug with his little project he keeps going on and on about, and how this will change everything forever, stated Gwen while leaning it back onto my chest. Peter perked up at hearing this. Oh yeah, what project is this? Nothing much. I plan to prove I know the key to access vast unlimited power that can change the cosmic balance as we know it, and it will all be in the hands of a teenage boy. Mwahahaha. Then afterwards, a make-out session to end all sessions, I replied with a straight face after my evil laugh. Yeah, I'll pass. Thanks for the heads up about your evil plans to rule the world, Peter stated as he closed his locker. Cheer up, buddy. We're about to have a 3-day weekend. Why so glum? I asked as we headed down the hallway to the school's exit. Not too sure. I want something new, replied Peter in a bored tone of voice. Dude, we live in one of the most diverse cities known to man, and you're bored? Seriously? I asked him back with an incredulous voice. Stop messing with him. He just wants something new to happen in his life. We all believe that high school's a drag on anyone, stated Gwen as he glared at me. Ha, hold it, Mama. Hold it in, Mama Barrel. I'm just asking regular questions here. I'm trying to figure out his mood to help fix his mojo, I said while backing away. Geez, don't kill the guy just asking questions to help solve a problem. Don't worry about the big lug. I know you have your eyes on that redhead. Don't you blush, mister. Really. These things take times. If it turns out she isn't the one for you, then that's okay. I'm positive you'll find someone. Okay, Peter? So cheer up, Gwen said to him in a cheerful tone. I turned off to the side and sighed with relief. All right, Peter, here's your bus. Have a good weekend. I won't don't do anything I wouldn't do, I said, looking at him, holding my hand out for a fist bump. Yeah, I think I will have this new GPU game coming in the mail today. So once that's in, I'll start compiling a new code I was working on for information on the web, Peter replied excitedly. Sounds like a plan, man, I replied, walking away from the bus stop with Gwen by my side. So are you going to tell me about this experiment you've been preparing for? Gwen asked me as she caught the 129 metro towards Hell's Kitchen docks. Turning around and look at her, I had to mull it over in my mind. How much to share, and what can I share? What if I was to tell you I might or might not have the key to extra-dimensional energy that's listed as one of the fundamentals of reality itself, and not just reality as it's a connective force through all of creation, the multiverse, space, and even time itself. It's a force that would allow anyone to access to transcend life and death itself, because once one is connected to it, you are more than just what you are. Some of your parts are just rendered a moot point, because this force is part of existence itself, and when you gain access to it, your fundamental being also becomes part of existence. Itself is also just a proxy. I hum as I finish my little tirade about the speed force. See, this is the you I like. Why can't you show this type of intelligence in school instead of the boring lazy face all the time? Gwen huffed at me in an exasperated manner. I couldn't help myself as I laughed at that. I'm talking about powers that can change reality itself, and she's worried about what face I show in school. Man, she's adorable. I'm not going with the ship that much, and that could be because I didn't like Gwen that much in the movies, or just, I don't know. Well, I don't know what you're talking about, but that's some heavy stuff. She would totally know whatever he's talking about. How can you be so sure you know that it is that... How can you be sure you know that it is what you believe it to be? Not one to knock you down, big lug, but I don't believe you're in any AP physics classes, Gwen replied while eyeing me. Well, to answer your question, I discovered the key to it a while back, but I wasn't sure my body would be able to handle all that power. Do you remember when I asked you to check if I have the X gene in my genome sequence? I asked when, while we were relaxed in the seats in the back of the bus as it chugged along the NYC streets to our destination. Okay, I'll bite. What's the reason you couldn't use this so-called key until you knew you had the X gene? Also, after you asked me about it, I had to do my own little research. Did you know Professor Charles Javier... I know his name. Charles Xavier, I think, wrote a theory on human evolution and that we might have new sapient human types walking among us. Gwen asked, looking out at the side windows. Yeah, I know of the professor. I actually have hope of meeting him after all this is complete, I replied. Oh, don't be sly, mister. You didn't answer my original question, Gwen replied as she turned around and as she smiled at me. Okay. The big deal about the X gene is that it's mutable on a far higher scale than our normal genes, with no risk of cancer. Another big deal about the gene is when it activates, it will give the carrier powers. Yes, yet these powers come at a random power scale and set. The key will allow me to access the dimensional force, and the X gene will keep it from killing me in the process. I hope that it's going to jumpstart my X gene, allowing me to gain powers since my gene would be in a blank state and I'd be able to soak it all up, I replied with a grin of my own. Her face fell instantly. This is dangerous! And you want my help with it? And it's like, no shit. Like, no. Really. I was like, these are high schoolers. Like, they're not even technically the character is supposed to be like twice his age because he was like died and then was reincarnated in this universe, but I mean, like, how does nobody else know about this plant? How is he doing this himself? How does he get the resources to do science experiments like this at this age? It's just kind of like, I flinched. Yeah, maybe I should have kept that part out of it. Well, no more dangerous than walking down the street in NYC. That is called a non sequitur. It's a logical fallacy, and it's just straight up wrong. It's just not true, I replied, trying to calm her down. No, Ben, that in this is different, and you know it. Gwen huffed at me. Well, Gwen, I gotta try it, and if this works, it's gonna be like, wow. And if it's gonna be like, wow. And if it doesn't, you can just huff at me with your usual I told you so's. No, you'll be dead. That's the whole concern she has with it, I replied with a pleading tone in my voice. This was my key to the big life, the path to be immortalized in history. Hell, I can't be sure I can even do this without her. Yeah, I am putting the parts of the plan together, but she is the biochem genius that's gonna save my ass if I do something stupid. Like, I don't know, accessing this unlimited power source that totally, definitely exists, and you have so much knowledge on because you just happen to be a genius. I guess I gotta go with a bribe. Come on, Gwen, if this works, it means I'll be able to figure out a way to get you powers also. Sharing is caring, right? I asked softly as I could while putting my arms around her waist and bringing her closer to me with a pout on my face. All she could do was let out a little huff at me, and I knew I piqued her interest, even if she wouldn't admit it. You should know if I'd figured this out, then I would be able to help find you some powers also, right? You just said that like a line ago. Maybe some flight or something flashy, or how about some strength, but I don't think my pretty genius is into getting her hands dirty. How about some telekinesis? Maybe the beauty and brains make the beauty and brains a powerhouse no one can mess with? How would you like that? I said into her ear. I do not think that Gwen Stacy is like selfish enough to do this, mostly because they like show her as like most other things, like as most other love interests in a show is kind of like above negatives, you know, and like at most they're usually ignorant. So Gwen's not. She's just this is just Seeing a smirk played across her lips, yeah, I know that she is in my corner for the crazy that's about to go down. We got off our stuff about 3 blocks down and 2 blocks across from where we needed to be, but that was okay. That's how I wanted it anyway, because I had all of the hobos in my corner. I've been visiting out here since my mom allowed me to get on the bus alone. One of the memories I had before I died was all my nerd and geek of the info of the MCU and the DC universe in a movie called was a movie called John Wick. It showed me the power one can have if they had the hobos and dumb bums behind them. So at a very early age, I came out here on my own to feed them. There was Alan, an old school Vietnam vet, Terry, a millionaire on very tough times. Sure. Since his wife took everything and then framed him for the rest of what he says, but who knows with that one. And then there's Phil and a dozen others that like to hang around my warehouse of choice. They all waved at me as I walked past in the warehouse, not werewolf. So far, nothing seems wrong. I wonder if the items I ordered got here yet. After I'd gotten positive results that I had the X gene, I began my preparations. Since I have been saving up my allowance from way back, I had been using it to feed some of the homeless people around my warehouse. I'd saved up a very nice pretty penny, and then I had ordered a box of about 300 packs of electrolyte saline solution with an IV drip, and the guys in the gurney framed for me replaced it on my bed. I obtained the fluids and my body was going to need, and I had the extreme bomb with the speed force. And then I had people look over me while I communed with existence itself. I was getting nervous, and my adrenaline was flowing because I knew this was going to change everything. It had to work because if it didn't, I was going to lose my shit. Besides the spider bites, let's be honest, I don't think that what's going to work with my genetic makeup. This is the easiest power to receive. You want to cheat, you gotta plunge your hands into the heart of the dragon. That, and I had no way to make it to Kunlun, and so that's out. Save Dr. Sturms and get the Hulk formula. Yeah, that's not gonna work because I don't have the gamma gene to survive that exposure. How am I going to get behind the rescue man with all the military around? So yeah, that's a no-go. And there's no way I can get my hands on the extremis virus for bodily improvement because that would overheat me and make a man go boom quick. And I have no clue how to get to AIM HQ. So now here I am with a semi-abandoned warehouse surrounded by hobos that I adopted and fed, and they helped me by keeping the place clean from time to time. Oh guys, move the bed over to the wall away from the skylight and get the fire extinguishers ready. There's a good chance that I'll cook before I recover if this works, I yelled out, giving orders to my people. Alan, do you mind looking after Gwen for me? She's the doc, and you're her second in command. Please and thanks. Alrighty, it's showtime, I spoke, hyping myself up for what comes next. I kissed Gwen and watched as she ran over to the rest of the group. Alright, I got this. Yeah, I totally got this. Then I spoke the words that every DC nerd and geek would know because how the significant equation is because for all those in the know, it was the key to Speed Force. For the total access, this is going to change my life forever. 3x2 9yz 4a. Everything changed as my body felt as if something was slotted into my very being. I was frozen to the spot and everything was silent, but not just silent, nothing was moving, not even the particles in the air. Then a bolt of lightning came crashing down, smacking me right in the chest over my heart. And fuck, did it feel like a jolt of the best espresso, around 100 million volts of nothing but pure energy from the Speed Force. Just for me, my very existence became painful. I didn't know when the pain ended. I started. The entire nerves felt like they were on fire, but held on. I refused to let go after this so far. I refused for my second chance to be ended this way. I refused it would accept anything other than success. Then everything went white. Hurry, get those fire extinguishers in here. I guess this is gonna work out for the kid after all, Alan said, walking over to take a look at his little friend that was too stubborn for his own good. If this goes sideways, what are we going to tell the kid's parents? I didn't believe him when he said he had the key. I thought it was just another little story to get out of doing homework, Gwen whispered at the spot as she watched Ben picked up from the ground and as he was laying and struck by lightning. How was struck by lightning? The sky was clear. There was no static in the air. How just did it come to this? Gwen wondered. Just how much more does he hide behind that goofy grin of his? X-Mansion. A man in a silver wheelchair suddenly exclaimed in pain, his charcoal suit ruffled as he ripped the metallic helm from his head, putting his bald head on display for all to see. Is everything all right, Professor? Asked the lady who stood behind the control panel, her shoulder-length hair sways with each movement of her hips. Aurora, dear Cerebro, just sensed the very powerful mutant manifesting his powers. It was just a moment, but I'm certain that this individual is an Omega-class mutant, or possibly beyond, and that mutant is here in New York. They might be scared or worse, in danger right now. They probably won't have any control over their powers, and that could result in disaster. Indeed, Aurora, informed Logan, we have a signature. When the signature shows up again, we will locate the mutant. I hope that he or she is still alive. Aurora nodded to the professor's words, leaving to go update Logan on the situation. Another powerful mutant said one that could be Omega class or beyond was as rare as they came, if they ever did. Oh, this is so going to end before I've been speed reading for like the last like 7 or 8 paragraphs like as fast as I can because I don't think we're going to finish this chapter before my phone cuts out. But we still have another few minutes, so let's keep going, see if we can make it. Benjamin Blake. I didn't know where I was, but everything felt so familiar. It looked like a representation of the city. Are these my memories? I asked out loud. Then I felt a surge of energy so damn powerful my mind felt like it was going to be ripped in half. The lightning in its power came in waves and colors, red, blacks, greens, and blues. All manner of lightning came and forced its way into my body, all with one purpose, fill me with power. Yet all that power was also ripping me apart. I refused to just die. I came this far. I used everything I had. I refused to just die because my body can't handle it at all. With my refusal to die came my anger roaring to life. Then I grabbed the bolt, and then reality twisted, and I could see everything inside, and then reality morphed into any and all shapes I wanted. The power was so intoxicating, but this is not what I wanted. I was in a mind state, not the outside. All this power had me trapped, and it was trying to have its way with me, and I refused it. This was summoned to do my bidding, not the other way around. With the green and black in one hand and the red and blue in the other, I forced everything within my being. This was my mind state. No one had more power than me in my own mind. I was the alpha and the omega here, and no shitty lightning bolt was going to rule me. I forced it all into my core, and my X gene came roaring to life. At that moment, I knew I was going to win. Yet this was a fight that was not going to be over anytime soon. Phantom pain started to assault my senses, but I held on. I was not going to lose this fight today, and I fought it. As I fought and held on, the red and gold electricity arcs came forth from my body and my mind. It was working. My body was being remade on a molecular level to allow the speed force to coexist within my cells. My muscles, my tendons, and my bones were all being rebuilt to use said powers. Just like all that pain, all that power died down, and I finally felt at peace. When I woke up, I was in the gurney facing the sky like, "Ugh, did anyone get the plates on the car that ran me over?" I groaned out for anyone to hear me. I heard shuffling over to my right side, and I sat up. Next thing I know, I was being embraced by Gwen, who had tears in her eyes. "Come on now, Gwen. I told you I was only going to be out for a little bit, didn't I?" I replied as she started to squeeze me tighter. "Yeah, well, kid, you were out for 2 Yeah, okay, so he was... I don't have time to pause and talk, but, like, he was out for, like, 2 days, and his parents didn't notice, and the school didn't notice, and Gwen just sat there the whole time and, like, didn't leave to eat or use the bathroom, and the homeless people did the same thing, but whatever. My body, come on, Gwen, I said it. "Yeah, well, kid, you were out for 2 days while you were all glowy and such," answered Alan while slamming a ham-sided hand onto my back. "Oh, well, that's too bad then. I thought I was going to be out for much longer," I stated as I patted Gwen on her back. "Please don't do that again. Please don't do that again. The next time you do that, I'll kill you for it, you big lug," Gwen cried out as she had gotten over her own little tiff. While they droned on and on in my ears about safety, I was juiced. I had just gotten dosed with 100 million volts of lightning, and I was raring to go. My mind was buzzing with new ideas and thoughts I never knew I never knew possible. Just looking at a far-off building, I knew the velocity I could go if I started to run straight up its surface. So much power at my fingertips, and I could not wait to cut loose and tell the world, "I am here, bitches. No one can catch the fastest man alive." Yet the only thing in my way was my upset girlfriend named Gwen. And since this was the last day of our 3-day weekend, it's time to go out on a date. Man, I hope I have this cheesy comedy or chick flick or anything to help me get her off my case. But let's try something I always believed the Flash from the comics could do but never touched upon. I held my hand up and started to channel the speed force through it. At first my hand started to buzz like I was after phasing, but I knew that wasn't what I wanted. I was going for something of a finer quality, something that was going to be my ultimate cheat. My body was going to be used as it first My body was getting used to being connected to the speed force, but the force gave me an aura around my body. I was generating an aura on a subconscious level. This was one of the signs of it, that it was protecting me. Yet I had plans for this aura. My body was slowly healing, but if I wanted to channel speed into my body, I should, in theory, speed up my healing. Since I was just a regular human a while ago, my superhuman durability hasn't kicked in yet. But with me channeling energy, I am positive I can accelerate my healing by a factor of 5 for my normal cell, which will in turn keep them at peak efficiency, allowing me to avoid natural cellular atrophy. See, that's what I'm talking about. I just thought of a way to heal my body faster than a perfect recall combined with my now enhanced mental process, and the answer came to me without even trying. Let's take Gwen out to the movies. First chance I get running across the Brooklyn beach. Let's take Gwen out to the movies. First chance I get. I'm going running across the Brooklyn Bridge at full speed and then jump off the top. This is... oh, wow. Okay. I managed to get done before I ran out of time, but I'm not going to be reading another chapter of this. I think that I'm going to create a playlist that's just me reading the first chapters of books that I go through, to see if I like them or not. And then if I like them, then I'll add them to their own playlist. And yeah. My throat is so sore. I might have had a bit more time than I thought. But I am going to go, and I will talk to you guys some other time. See ya.